Aftermarket wheels over the past 10 years, all right, they've changed more than ever before, and we've seen brands come and go where others have absolutely exploded, okay? As purveyors of wheels ourselves over the last 10 years, we've been asked by you about certain brands. The truth, the unbridled truth, okay? And one brand above others that we've gotten asked a ton about is Aodhan Wheels. And if you're thinking about getting them, we want you to know the truth about them right here at martiniworks.com. And here's why we would say that Aodhan has become known as the king of reps. I'm Alex, hi, hello, hola, if you will. If you're looking for car parts, wheels, tires, all that sort of good stuff, mod your car at martiniworks.com. We can mount and balance wheels right here, and we ship them to your door, making sure you're getting the right parts, the right fitment, and the right details, because quite frankly, we give a shit and we're kind of tired of everybody in the audience being these huge corporate sellouts, and we just want to have fun with cars again. Is that so much to ask? All right, let's jump into this disaster. Aodhan Wheels is an affordable aftermarket wheel company that made its mark on the marketplace of Amazon and eBay well before gracing Nissan 350Zs and Ford Mustangs pretty much everywhere. The owner and his team have been around for a minute selling on eBay, and if you're sneaky enough, you'll actually find some of the many names they used to go by if you head on out to those marketplaces. People almost always ask us before snagging a set, just really simply, are they good wheels? Now, construction-wise, we haven't heard any terrible stories. In fact, we've heard that they hold up quite well as a street wheel, outside of the reports that the fake rivets in some of their wheels do have a tendency to discolor over time in the hot sun. Now, they have some technology called single-phase forging. It's their term for rotary forging. It's when the pressurized rollers stretch the wheel to the specs and give you a lighter barrel, okay? The face is still cast, but because most of your weight is in the barrel, depending on how the wheel is made, some of the Aodhan wheels were claimed to be relatively light. We're gonna get into that in just a second. Now, what makes them a little bit unique is their next technology that they call dual-phase forging, where single-phase forging apparently only rolls the inner side of the barrel, but this one also does it from the outside, apparently. Something you'll see Volks and some others do with their advanced technology. This, I'm not so sure, because our initial hesitation though, I think it's a little bit of a marketing buzz. A dual-phased forged wheel like the DS09 in an 18 by 8.5 plus 35 weighs 21.3 pounds, which is not light for that size. A Koenig in the same size would come in at around 18 or 19 pounds. This one specifically, this is an Aodhan. It's an 18 by 9.5. This has dual-phase forging. They actually have it on the back of the barrel. Look at that, dual phase forging. I wanna show you how much this actually weighs. 21.5 pounds, so not terrible. That one's pretty good. Where we start to run into issues is in some of their larger stuff, it does come in at like 26 pounds. Here's another one. Yeah, 27.3 pounds. This one is an 18 by 10.5. So the 9.5 seem to be a pretty good spot. The 10.5s I think are a little heavy, and the 8.5s I think are a little heavy, and I think that has a lot to do with their molding technology. Really, on an 8.5-inch wheel, if you're looking for something lightweight, you're gonna wanna be between like the 8 and 20. If you're at the 9.5, you're probably looking at the 19 to 21 in terms of pounds, and at the 10.5, you're probably looking at 21 to 23 if you want a lighter wheel. Now, don't be fooled, lighter is not always better, because you still have to have a load rating that can take on the wheel. Remember, your car weighs something. The bigger and heavier it is, the more load rating you need to have for your wheel, which means sometimes these have to be naturally a bit beefier so they can handle the weight. So maybe it is, maybe it isn't. I'm personally not too convinced just yet. You can let me know in the comments below if you disagree. But what really we get asked is not because they're super light, but because of the great price. How and why? Well, in 2020, there was a weird thing that happened that shook up the world. We all know it, and we're probably all tired talking about it, but it's important because there was something that was really monumental that happened that Aodhan chose to do, whereas other aftermarket wheel companies didn't. During 2020, as aluminum costs were rising and shipping costs were nearly at all-time highs of $25,000 a container versus what was normally $6,000 a container, most wheel companies opted to consolidate their wheel offerings to fit more wheels in their container. Sizes like 18 by 8.5 take up less space than a 20 by 10, for instance, and they sell about 4 to 1. On top of that, many of them tried to wait to ship their containers until the price of them went down, leaving thousands of containers sitting at the ports of China, hoping to be picked up when things got more affordable. This are the two things that made Aodhan a little bit different. You see, Aodhan saw that companies that were making more affordable wheels were having trouble keeping their wheels in stock. stock, mostly on staggered fitments. This is where your rear wheels are bigger than your front wheels. They also noticed that fancy colored wheels that were like brushed and red and more were just having trouble getting to port. So Aodhan took a bit of a risk. They doubled down and continued pushing their wheels even though everyone else started to pull back or even shut down. You see, the DS09 may weigh 26 pounds in a 19 by 11, but they were one of the only wheel brands you could get that size, which just so happened to fit the rears of a Nissan 370Z nearly perfectly. And bonus point, it had over 3.3 inches of lip. By the time the rest of the world felt comfortable bringing in the weirder sizes again, anyone that was selling under $1,200 wheel sets really couldn't compete with Aodhan, and they took the market. Now, there's no argument that Aodhan replicates their designs. I mean, you can see it in almost every single one. We've heard from other wheel resellers since our brief hiatus that they make original wheels, and we can confidently say that that's just not true. The AH07, for instance, were direct results of Cosmos Racing pulling back out of the US market because of 2020. Aodhan saw the design, they knew it was working really well, and they ran with it with a size that they knew would sell. Now, since that time, Aodhan has maintained an incredibly affordable price on their wheels. Because they don't bother themselves with a mountain of colors and customization, they're all just mostly this color or black, sometimes bronze. And that's the truth, when it comes to wheels. We want MartiniWorks.com to be the place that you really kind of trust, and you can learn about these wheel brands, both the good and the bad. We don't want anyone out there to try to pull a fast one on you, to make it seem like they're as good as a $4,000 set of wheels. I don't think that's fair. Aodhan does get some respect in the sense that they provide fitments and designs and a chunk ton of lip that you can't get anywhere else for the price. Not just that, but their design details are well done. Something that they've really managed to lock in pretty well, I almost dropped that, is something that you typically only see in the likes of Ferrata, Rohana, and things like that. Spoke designs on something like the AFF7 give it a nice, spokey, sleek look. The taper design on the side of these spokes is the reason that a lot of people like this upper premiere feeling of the Aodhan. It's got a flush center cap, which looks really nice. It's got this kind of tapered in lug hole into the spokes. These are all design elements that you typically see on this stuff here, and over here, and this, and over here. So a lot of times when you say, I like them, they look good, I don't understand why they get the hate. Well, Aodhan is essentially taking all the things that you love on certain wheel designs and pushing it into something that they know works. Now, can they handle a racetrack? Can they handle a dirt drop? Can they handle all of that sort of stuff? I couldn't tell you that. Most of the people that are throwing these on cars aren't taking it to go drifting. They're not taking it to Road America. They're not taking it to Willow Springs. What they're doing is they're building a 350, 370, or G, and they want it to look cool, and they got a couple grand, and they want to pick up a nice set of wheels that's got a big lip. So whether you want to pick up a set of Aodhans is entirely up to you. They have some clear reasons as to why you'd want to pick up a set. Like I said, huge lip on one-piece wheels. They're affordable, they got some good design elements, and they're easy to get your hands on. Most of the time when we get an order, they're at your door in about 4 days or so, which is wild. But it's important to note very clearly that they take designs from other manufacturers. They aren't inherently very light, and they aren't intended or used in motorsports. So if that matters to you, you're gonna wanna look elsewhere. Wheel manufacturing is a cutthroat business, and if you talk to anybody that's inside the industry and you ask them their opinions on Aodhan wheels, you'll probably get a pretty long story. If you aren't on top of it each and every day, someone will come along and snag your lunch. During the era of hesitation and fear, Aodhan ultimately took a risk and it paid off. And the reason they've gotten so successful is because they ate the smaller competitors. And nowadays, you don't hear about things like Cosmos. You don't hear about things like Barstowen. You almost only hear about Aodhan. And now, we hope you know why. But share this video with a buddy that needs to know this if they're trying to pick up a set of wheels. And if you're looking for wheels, wheel and tire packages, or performance parts, come mod your car with your friends over at MartiniWorks.com, Aodhan or otherwise. I'm Alex Martini, and we'll see you later. Peace.